Hello everybody, this is Apple Treats, the last episode of the season, last episode of the year, and that's the holiday special episode.
I remember that the last time we promised that the last episode, this is not the last episode will be before Christmas. Oh,
yeah, nope.
We didn't specify which Christmas, yeah.
Well, at least it's before New Year. Yeah, well, let's put it that way. So, yeah, I think everybody now's, I don't know, like having their holiday vacations, or at least at this time they might be just a little bit more relaxed than during the whole year. So what we want to do today, probably we will be less talking about the news and stuff, and maybe focus on something like review the year, think of what was nice in terms of Apple developers, and what we hope to see next year, something like that, right?
Yep.
However, I can't avoid a couple of news which happened since our last episode, because these are really important, and one of those like really affected personally, like me personally. But like let's do first things first. One of the things which were changed recently is the new App Store price tiers and granulation levels, I would say. So now I think the cheapest app you can sell is 29 cents in US, and you can go as high as 10K, right? But as far as I know, you will still need to justify why exactly you want to charge 10K for something you create. I believe till 1,000 it's still like you just set the price, but from 1,000 and up you need to like basically say, yeah, this is really brilliant app, and we expect one person to buy it, and that's it, something like that. Probably, I don't know, but that's kind of nice. I mean, maybe they're preparing the App Store to be able to sell more goods, and that's not just for the apps, that's for the in-app purchases as well. So there are a couple of other stuff related to that. So they will be allowing you to set the prices in like main price tier from your local currency and not base everything on top of the US dollar. So that's coming next year, I think. And that will allow you to set the prices for each country specifically to your needs. And that might affect your income, because like if you say lower prices in some countries, so you will have less money from selling your apps there, but you will be able to adjust your app to specific markets, which is again kind of really good thing.
Something really new since 2007.
Exactly. We won't be talking about the legislations in European Union regarding the side loading, because there are none happening. So Apple did not actually do something yet. We'll see. As soon as we get more info, we will probably dedicate the whole episode on that. But I think it won't.
About building our own app store.
Yeah, there are a couple of reports on this, like how Apple can comply with the ruling and still not allow your new app store there. So there are a couple of ways of following these rules and still be able to maintain the whole ecosystem, but we'll see.
Yeah, but kids, please be careful. In case if Apple allow to build third-party app stores, please do not install anything from Meta.
Yeah, probably the first app store will be Facebook, and they will have like tons of software which will track every your step like across the ways. Probably the same will go for TikTok as well. I'm pretty much sure there will be something like Tencent App Store with their really privacy denying apps. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So thanks to Felix Krause, we know how they really spying on us in their like internal browsers, both TikTok and, for example, Instagram.
Instagram as well. Yeah. So don't use that. Another thing which was interesting, I'm just checking the news here. So yeah, we need to say that there were third round of Ask Apple developer event this year. It was third week. It happened in beginning of December, and this is actually very nice. And Apple did several developer-focused events when you can talk to Apple engineers, ask them questions, and that could be one-on-one, like sessions which like target your app specifically, or that happened in the Slack where you can discuss that openly. And I think both formats were very nice. And Apple also said they will be preserving Slack chats and they will not clearing them out a lot. So that's again a good thing. It seems that Apple changing their communication with developers. They're now more open. They have more events. They have more communication channels. So we'll see what will happen next. Hopefully they will still have WWDC next year, like in person WWDC. But we will talk about that when we will be talking.
Continuous WWDC the whole year.
Yeah, it seems that in the long run, Apple might open like, here's the developer support Slack, and you can just ask questions anytime. But as of now, it's not like you ask questions and it instantly published. When you ask question, it passes the moderation, so it's a more or less controlled environment for Apple. They will control what you see there. But it was a really nice experience, and I asked a couple of questions and got quite interesting answers, which I was not able to find in the documentation previously. So
I think it's not about like how Apple go forward with the developer relations, but it's talking more about their documentation, pure quality of documentation.
That is true. But it's still good to see Apple doing something for the developers, and it's still good that you can join these events for free. And and by the way, you don't have to be in US. It's a Slack. It's online. You can join this Ask Apple Week at your convenient location. The only thing that the questions are asked and answered during specific time slots, so that affects a bit. And apart from that, like, take a look on those events. That's a good way to ask your questions. You can ask follow-up questions, and the engineers usually provide some explanations if something needs to be explained. So again, thanks Apple. That was good way to do. Hopefully you will do documentation for all your frameworks as you did for Swift UI, and you will elaborate from that. So your documentation efforts are improving, definitely, but we want more for other frameworks as well. But that's really cool. And I would like to talk about one more thing. It's release of iOS 16.2, and initially when they released, that was really nice.
And what 2 means in this?
Oh,
do you know what this point 2 means?
Nope.
It stands for end-to-end.
Yeah, that's probably true. So they before the release, they announced a couple of security and privacy features, and those features included end-to-end encryption for let's say more iCloud data. It's still not full encrypted, and they explained why.
Not mostly full, but except
calendars,
mail,
and contacts.
Yeah, so everything that should be synchronized within their protocols.
So I still don't understand why contacts need to be open.
They also can be synchronized within this protocol. I forgot how it's called.
CalDAV or so. Yeah, something like that. But still, you can do that without that. So if I host all my contacts within my iCloud and I don't add any other accounts.
But you're talking about, so what if you want to synchronize these, for example, to some of your, Windows machine?
True. I mean, I agree that could be done, but what if I don't want to? I want my contacts to be encrypted. Okay, but nevertheless, the most important part is that they encrypt your iCloud backups for your devices, which is great. That's just amazingly great. They encrypt all other stuff like
photos.
Yeah,
and
photos.
Really big stuff.
Yeah, so that's a lot of changes happened in that. But before you allow to do that, you need to have at least one recovery option for your account, because otherwise all your data could be lost if you lose access to your account. So there is no way to decrypt your iCloud data, because it's end-to-end encrypted, and that means that the key is stored on your devices only. Apple cannot decrypt that. So you need to either have a recovery key, which is one of the options, or you need to have a recovery contact. So you delegate unlock of your account to somebody you trust. Or you can have both, actually. So that's also an option. But when you set that up, you also need to decide, do you want to have access to your data through iCloud web interface? And that's kind of interesting. I mean, like you can think like, well, if everything is end-to-end encrypted, how exactly I can access that through the web? And there is a way to do that. So when you access through the web, one of your devices will need to approve that access, and you will enter your passcode, or you will use your Face ID or whatever, and you pass in that information to iCloud web server, which will have the key to decrypt your data while your session is active. So in that case, the Apple server will have the access to your key as the web application, which access your photos, your notes, and everything. But then after you're done with that, the key is destroyed and your data key is still kept end-to-end encrypted. It's nothing to do from the developer perspective. So if you are doing your applications correctly, you don't have to do anything. And even if you're doing not properly, you still can't do anything about that, and it will still work. It should work. But from user's perspective, you need to do that explicitly. It's not on by default. And if you're a user of the iOS devices, just do that. It's a really great Christmas present for you from Apple. Mostly because it's your data. It shouldn't be, even if you trust Apple, and we trust Apple. Well, I mean, I can say for myself, I can trust Apple with my data, but it's still better to have less people have access to your data. It should be you, who accessing your photos, your notes, your, wallet cards, whatever. So just set up your recovery options, and if you created recovery key, put it in some safe place. Don't just print it on, scrap it on your device or whatever, and turn on advanced data protection for iCloud.
But you cannot do this until you upgrade all your devices.
Yeah, and by the way, that's another thing. It's currently available for the US only, but they promised that the rollout to the whole world will happen in next year. So as soon as you get that option, just I think you have to do that.
I think in US it's a big problem. You have to keep your data private.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have a lot of agencies, which some agencies already said that's really bad thing that Apple allows end-to-end encryption, but we still have that. Yeah, and another thing, if you have any device in your account which cannot be updated to the latest release, you will not be able to turn that option on. So if you have old iPad which cannot be updated to 16.2, or old, Apple TV, anything, you will not be able to get that, because, well, that makes sense, because that device will not be able to access the data and so on. So think about that when you will be doing these particular actions. But
so you have to prepare yourself for this process and probably buy a new device. Oh no.
Yeah, well, Apple can conveniently sell you new devices in almost every location. Another thing which was introduced there is that iMessage will now notify if new unknown devices are added to your recipient account. So you will be able to see that somebody tries to spy for iMessage communications, which is kind of cool. And another thing is that you will be able to use hardware security keys to access your Apple ID as the second factor. So that's another good thing to improve your security of your account if you, again, like this kind of security measures. So I think those are coming like soon. It's not yet available, but the iCloud data protection is available. I tried that. It's a kind of quest to update everything of your devices, and suddenly you actually get that. But I want to talk about another thing which was introduced in 16.2, and that's new home architecture, which brings support for the Matter smart home standard, and it's kind of good, and it will improve everything and everything. Like, this is really cool. But Apple did pull that option out from Home app in iOS 16.2 for some reason. And I can tell you probably one of the reasons why they do that. I recently decided to get these guys for, let's say, Christmas. And when you buy them now, they are not coming in the latest OS release, HomePod OS release. They come like 16.0. And you can add those devices to your account because they are not updated to the latest version. And you can't update them because you can't add them to your account. And you basically, if you do not have any spare device which is not connected to your Apple ID, you basically end up with something which is not usable at all. I was able to run these things off, so I had a spare account which was not updated to new home architecture. It was not connected to my actual Apple ID, so I connected to that account, updated, disconnected, and then connected to my actual Apple ID, and now it works correctly. But if you're a regular user, you probably don't have spare device with another testing or development account which is not connected to new home. So it was terrible. And until they start selling the devices with updated HomePod software, you will not be able to use them in that particular case. So it's probably one of the things why they pulled out that upgrade option. So users will not end up buying something which they cannot use, and they will be returning that, or they will be storming Apple support or going to Apple stores in order to update, and like basically the whole mess of that. Apart from that,
to have some fun.
Yeah. Apart from that, the idea to have a home architecture which supports Matter is a good thing. So hopefully this will all resolve soon. And by the way, when you update the home architecture, you have no option to like downgrade it back. So the update is one way only. When you do that, like, yeah, you're stuck with the new home architecture. Even that option to upgrade is removed. You're still using the new architecture already, and you cannot downgrade it. So that's probably one thing which we will see how Apple will resolve in the next release. Maybe they will provide you an option to update device before adding it to your account. That will solve the problem. But again, since that's not available yet, you end up with this situation when you have to find the way.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see how many requests they got into Apple support during holiday season.
Honestly, I think it's kind of predictable situation when you like roll out. You potentially could test that before releasing the software. So this is something which you could predict and avoid. So I don't know. That seems like they didn't think much about that. Okay, the last news, the last important update which happened during the December, and it's like kind of sad one, at least for some. Probably you heard about this tool called AppCode from JetBrains, which is alternative development environment, which was used like I think I know a lot of people who use that. So it's not something very niche. It's a paid one. You had to purchase it. So yeah, that they just recently released the update, and the same day they announced that the project is sunset, and you will have 1 year to migrate to something else. So they will provide you with security support.
no security support, no support of new versions of Xcode.
Yeah.
But still, you will have a fallback license which you can use.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
but it's basically it will not have anything later on. So one less IDE for the Apple developers. Well, you still can probably have your Visual Studio Code and had some extensions there, but I think that having this project like discontinued, it's not a good thing. It seems that JetBrains tries to focus more on their efforts in Kotlin and maybe Kotlin multi-platform, and they try to unify their efforts. And maybe again with the Swift UI, they needed to have a canvas, and it was kind of hard to re-implement themselves. So you end up with a tool which does not provide you with an option to develop user interfaces, and that's again will frustrate the developers, and the developers will in turn just stop buying that tool. So it might be related to that, but again, it's kind of sad. I personally didn't use that, but it's still sad to see.
For 8 years, and still in the last version, I don't have full support of Swift, like normal support of Swift, like that we had previously for Objective-C. This is
well, and since the Objective-C is like fading out, we like see it less and less. At least when we talk about the third-party developers, I saw the stats for the iOS itself. It's like very full of Objective-C. Like there are a lot of Objective-C there, but
it's full of C++ and C as well.
And yeah, that's true. So we don't see that the Objective-C is used much in the developments for the new applications, and even like when you support something, it's probably already migrated to Swift in some degree or another. So it's okay. So we are stuck with Xcode.
Yeah. So yeah, but this is really bad because I believe that one of like main key features of Epcode was like inheritance from IDEA, like really powerful refactoring tools, renaming, adding new parameters to methods, removing them, changing types, and so on. That was really powerful. We still don't have like fully support of this stuff in Xcode, but still, since I believe Xcode 10, we got a lot of refactoring stuff. So it's now much better, and still it doesn't work very reliably. So if someone tried to rename one variable and then just after this try to rename another variable, you cannot do this because it constantly fails. I cannot find this symbol. So yeah, Apple have a lot of things to do with Xcode now, and this is really sad that they don't have these opponents who can teach them how to do this properly.
True.
Yeah, maybe we need to invest more into support of like LSP for Swift.
I think that's the only option. Yeah.
Because I know how perfectly this can work because it works for Rust.
Exactly. I was waiting for the Rust reference in this episode. Yeah, that's true. And again, since Rust is usually an inspiration for Swift, so we probably might see something happening there. Okay, I think we just have to be done with the news, and let's have some reviews of the.
It's slightly related to your previous statement. So, in Swift.org blog, they mentioned like they have this post from December 9th about the future of Foundation, and what they're promising that they're going to. So they're announcing a new open source Foundation project fully in Swift and for Swift. So no C code, because you remember, so previously, like Foundation in Swift, it was like multiple bridges from Swift Foundation to Objective-C Foundation to Core Foundation, which is purely C.
Yeah.
I read a lot of code of Core Foundation. It's beautiful, but it's C, so it's really hard to use it. So, and this is really a great job, and I believe that. So even if Foundation they started moving to Swift, probably other frameworks will join this initiative soon.
One thing which is also important about this migration is that the foundation for different platforms had different, let's say, backend for some things like networking or file management and so on. And this migration to Swift will unify the behavior. So
and
sometimes
different interfaces.
Yeah. But they had something which had like similar interfaces like URL session and everything, and it was implemented differently on different platforms, and therefore it could have some different behavior while still having the same interface. So they said that they will be working towards eliminating that. So the whole thing will now be unified on all platforms, and you will expect the same behavior on every platform. And which is again a very important thing. If you see some strange bug happening on specific platform and you like don't know what's really there. So this is a cool stuff.
Now we are done.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can do a couple of things here. I mean, we wanted to have bigger audience, and if you're like watching us live, let's ask you, like, put to the chat your favorite event of the year. Like, what was your favorite event in terms of Apple developments? Surely, let's put it that way, and don't go into anything else because of reasons. Yeah, just let me one more thing. Favorite device of the year, like what was in? I think that could be not just Apple. Like you can put whatever you want. And the last thing, what software feature of the year? I mean, maybe announced on WWDC or something else. What was your favorite again for this year? Let's just like put anything there that will help us. But we will start ourselves probably. And Vladimir, I will ask you first. What was your Let's start with the events. What was your favorite event of the year? Like, what was the coolest stuff for you?
I thought a lot about this because we prepared, of course. And I thought about different events through this year and about like events with products, etc. I cannot say that anything amazed me except nothing amazed me at all. So, but I think by the quality and the number of content, WWDC is just out of the row. So it's perfect now. Thanks to COVID, now we have these pre-recorded sessions. They're beautiful. They're prepared with the jokes and etc. Yeah, I think this is not very original, but WWDC is my favorite event this year.
I would agree with you. And this year, it was not just online experience, which is really cool. Yeah, I was happy enough to participate in their on-site one-day event, which was held in Apple Park, and it's not the same as like WWDC full week of sessions and communication and I don't know, the bash where some music starts there, but it was very close in terms of vibes. You saw a lot of developers there. It was they said that it was 1,000 guests which they invited to Apple Park. Not like 5,000 that it was before, but it still was really cool. I was able to talk with some people there. There were not much people who I already knew, but it was still really fun, and it gave the same, like similar vibes as the like full WWDC And you still had those lines when you stand in the line, drink coffee, or like have some bagels and wait until you are like passed to the next line and so on. So it was similar, and it was a little bit different because we were watching the same keynote as everybody else, but we were watching it on the big screen, and we had a small foreword from Tim Cook and from Craig before State of the Union. So it was some touches which made this event a little bit special for those who were there, but it was still more or less the same experience. And they had the teams meet and greet sessions, so you were able to get to any team who was working on specific part of the platforms and talk with them. That was also really nice.
Any team.
Not any team. Yeah, you were able to talk with some guys who are doing the software usually, or maybe hardware. I don't know. But it was really interesting experience. I would say that's my favorite one. But I want to mention that these Ask Apple events, they are notable second place here. So they were able to provide a lot of content after, and it was not the content like the sessions, but rather they were answering the questions, and you were able to see those questions in Slack. That's really cool, and I hope they will continue that. So it's like the second part of the favorite events. That's probably it with events. Yeah.
Anyone want to add something?
Yeah, we don't see anything in chat yet, but if somebody wants to put their thoughts, what they liked or maybe disliked during the year, let's put it there. There were a couple of devices released this year, like from Apple. If we're just talking about Apple, what's your favorite? Okay. Yeah.
So finally, Apple have done something with Apple Watch, something new. Not just we add one more sensor, like temperature sensor, whatever else. Yeah, there's something new form factor, new price, new quality,
new button.
Yeah, a new button, of course. So, and I cannot say that I now in winter I use it a lot. However, when I go outside with my dog, it's much easier now to run a workout app instead of just where is it? Oh, here, just this. Yeah, and I love it. And I cannot say that now I felt how this like to frequency GPS works, but it works. So when I see like my track on the map, it still looks much more stable and much better than it was previously. So yeah, this is like my device of the year, and this is just wonderful because my previous Apple Watch was Apple Watch Series 4. Yeah, and of course now I feel all this new stuff like oxygen level, always on screen, etc. Yeah, so for me it was much more wonderful than for people who previously owned, I don't know, Series 7. But still, this is really beautiful, and it's more stylish device than just pure Apple Watch, which, being honest, since Series 4, they haven't changed much.
Yeah, I think that is true. So they increased the screen size gradually, like from generation to generation, but more or less it was staying the same as for a long time. Even the Series 8, which was released, so it's like looked almost the same. They had new colors, but it's still, and the Ultra is something which is definitely new.
The good thing that I still can attach my band from Series 2, from big to Series 2 to my Ultra.
That is actually really cool. But what I like about the new Ultras is their new bands. They are really fancy, and I'm still considering buying this. So it was also one of the devices like which I favorite a lot, and I'm still considering buying this watch, but I'm not yet probably ready. I started with iPhone 14 Pro Max. Oh, by the way, that's probably I'm going a little bit ahead, but I'm using this new continuity camera, which is like the recording and the stream is done using the new camera from the iPhone, and I think it's much better than the dedicated camera I had before, and at least it doesn't fail me in color correction, which was happening a lot with my previous camera. I wouldn't be naming the brand, and probably people who know me already know this particular brand and how I hate it. Okay, I see a couple of things in chat in regards to the devices. I think we need to highlight that. So Alexei says Mac Studio, and he also had some misspelling, which is Max Studio, and I think we need to say that yes, probably Mac Studio with Max or maybe Ultra or whatever is actually one of the devices of the year. I mean, it's interesting to see how they scaled this small chip, which is originally was your iPhone like chip. They a little bit increased it in size and made them into MacBook Air. Then they put that into MacBook Pro and like stick two chips together. Then they stick once more, and they had the biggest chip there, and now it's powering the device which has capacity of the Mac Pro previously, like almost the same capacity. And this Mac Studio it's kind of cool device. It's actually like half of the device is the cooler, and
we just have to say that it looks ugly.
Yeah, it's basically a double-sized Mac Mini. Yeah. And this like the second Mac Mini there is just a cooler. And interestingly enough, it's powerful.
To resurrect trash bin style.
I think people will hate Apple for that. I still want to see that device again because it was absolutely impractical, but it was so nice. It was so nice. It was. I think that device is something which, I mean, it's like shiny, this jet black finish and everything. It's just nice to have that on your desk. Like, it doesn't matter if it even runs. I mean, it's just nicely looking. And yeah, you can't put them into the rack. You have to do something. But it was really cool device. And the idea of the cooling, which was the triangle-shaped exactly motherboard.
That's exactly why I'm talking about this, because having this big cooler underneath instead of heavy, like this flow inside. Yeah, they really need to call back to Johnny Ive and ask for something like this, but different.
Yeah, we have another comment from the chat, and that's in regards to GitHub Copilot. Yeah, let's talk about that. That was also interesting, and I would also put one more thing on top of this GitHub Copilot, because we now have ChatGPT, and it does like almost the same, but you not just typing the code, you just ask, here tool, create me code like from that. So the question, did we use that in your daily work? No, for couple of reasons. One of those reasons is that we still need to evaluate the licensing. So when you use GitHub Copilot, you actually indirectly use some other software which could have been like GPL or other licenses, and I mean it's still questionable. Like it's GitHub did some stuff to remove the GPL code from the Copilot data model. Like machine learning model, but it's still like it's questionable. It's nice. It does a lot, and it does a lot. I would say maybe properly, and we experimented with that. We did a couple of like fun stuff, and it was following what you're trying to do. I would also add that this ChatGPT also can create some code, which will probably even run if you continue doing some questions. I saw an article recently with the guy trying to create Android application using ChatGPT. He spent about 77, I think, questions to improve that, because it was creating the code which was not compiling. So he was asking, and his idea was not to write any code himself, but rather ask the tool to elaborate and fix. And he was able to do that. But it seems that these models will help you if you do something which was done previously, like which is already done. Like it's not something which will help you to create something really new. But let me finish here. And yes, most of the applications we create is something which was already done previously. So I think in daily work that might help. Truly, this is something which can make, I don't know. I mean, this ChatGPT or Copilot, they could be considered as maybe junior or even middle developers, like on their own, like with some help of the person typing on and guiding these tools. They can produce code which we would expect from junior or middle developer. I mean, we need to reevaluate that, but it seems that we are getting there. But when you try to develop something extremely complicated, that might be not the right tool for you. I think that's my personal opinion. But it's still nice to see that.
Marked out completion, so nothing more.
Yeah.
And really thinking about how we build applications, we also have this like ideation phase when we, at least I hope that many of you just first design some interfaces. Probably you write some tests, and then you write code. And when you write code, it's just a mechanical work of, so you have this idea how this code should work, and you just describe it with words. But
true.
So all these tools, they cannot help you with ideation phase, but they really can help you a lot with like this boring phase of writing code. I love it. It's my best part of doing something.
Exactly. So I think there is some future with these tools. But if you're a developer and you're thinking that this tool might take your job, no, I think no, not at least not now. I mean, they might simplify your job, and they might make you think more and type less if you want to. So this is also an option here, but I don't think this is something which will do your job fully. So the developer is not the person who just writes code. The developer is somebody who creates the software. And
the person who still sit on meetings and just chat.
Just don't. And sometime into the future he becomes manager and does that like without any problems inside. Yeah, so now he just do that regularly. Okay, so let's talk about the software features now. I mean, these two tools as GitHub and ChatGPT, they're nice. I have actually two software features I like about the Apple ecosystem, and I already like highlighted one of those, and that's the continuity camera, because this was done previously by third-party software from time to time, and some of that software was very terrible. Let's put it that way. And again, Apple is not yet the proper solution. Hear me out. It's not the perfect one yet. When you connect your iPhone as a camera, you use that. Usually, you should be using cable instead of Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi will be a little bit more sluggish. But the cable will not provide you 4K. You're limited to full HD for that, and if you want 4K, you probably need just to if you're doing the recording, then just use the phone for the recording. Don't use your Mac as a recording. If you want streaming in 4K, you're out of luck. you need some other device, but you can use also your MacBook as a camera, and you can use the phone, which will provide you like the second screen, like you can show your desktop, like the desktop, not your window, but rather like your desk where you draw something with your hands. Probably there will be an iPad lying there and you'll be drawing on the iPad. And there is another thing which will do that, so the Apple Freeform, Apple's take on mirror software probably. But yeah, let's not get into that. So the continuity camera, like let's put limitations aside. It's kind of nice and it works. I mean, previous time we were doing that, I was using the different iPhone. Camera was stuck in the middle and I had to restart it. So far, so good in this session. It still running perfectly. I'm hopefully
to buy just a new phone to use this feature without any.
Probably every year. Yeah.
Of course.
What's your favorite feature? And I will come with some notable like second places later.
Okay, I also have two. So I would say that for me, like the best feature that I use a lot is new widgets for lock screen, because this is something that changed my my lock screen a lot. So now I have there button for holiday camera and my next event in my calendar and weather, and I just can tap on my phone, see all of this, looks nice, thanks, and I don't need to swipe right, check my this like what's called today screen. Yeah, with all these widgets. Yeah, it's much better now, and I still think of what I can do for myself to add some more widgets into my lock screen, but something that I can develop, and I don't have any idea, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, let me add one thing. I'm not using that feature myself, but I already read a couple of reports of these two things happening together. The first is the crash detection, which had a lot of like bad PR as well, but crash detection and emergency SOS through the satellites. That thing already saved lives of people here in California, I believe. So the couple drove off the cliff on their car, and basically they stuck in the in some canyon when there is no cell reception, but the satellite connection was working, and they were able to send the message to the rescue team, and they were rescued with, I believe, the helicopter or something. So it was like the whole rescue operation, and without that, they probably their lives definitely were in danger. So they were alive, but like when you cannot call anybody and you're in the middle of nowhere, like who would rescue you there? So that was really cool, and I see that as a like great use of the technology. It's not just something for fun, for money, for gaming, but it's rather something which can like you probably want to never use that. But if it's there, it's really cool. Like it's something which is great. It was there. So I would nominate that as actually my favorite software feature. I was having something else and I scratched that out right now. So yeah, let's talk about your second.
So this is just a wonderful that in iOS 16 we have this. Now you can open details of your Wi-Fi network and see password. Finally. Now, more than 10 years we suffer from this. So when Apple introduced iCloud Keychain and you synchronized all these passwords through cloud, that worked fine, because if you don't remember some password from anything, you can open Keychain on your Mac and see. But what would you do if you don't have Mac nearby? So finally, iOS 16, so 16 versions of one OS to show password. Thanks, Apple. This is like it's not sarcasm. Thank you. I don't use this often, but it's similar to satellite. But when I need this, I'm really glad I have it.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a neat change which helped a lot. Okay, I think maybe that's probably it with our favorite things through the year. And I don't know, maybe like, do you have anything, expectations, hopes for the next year from Apple?
By the way, do you remember what resolutions we made the last year?
No idea. And no, let me explain. I mean, the whole year was such a mess. Let's put it that way. So I even like, I have no problems with not knowing those resolutions, not remembering them. I mean, like, I don't think somebody could blame me for this. A whole lot of stuff happened during this year, and living in different places, doing different stuff, and we have a lot of other problems to solve. So I'm not sure we should be doing any resolutions for the next year. Again, this is something. Let me show you
our expectations. Much better.
Yeah. So I recently purchased a calendar for myself. Let me show you this one. So it's a calendar from Stephen Pastis. It's a comics, and there is one thing. Let me read it. Rainbows and unicorns, all will be better this year calendar. So it's for the next year, because it can't be worse. Like, this is, I mean, I hope so. Like, this is one of the reasons probably why I want this calendar to have on my desk. So that's the only hope, my only hope for the next year actually to happen. So it's like, let it be like just a little bit better. Like, maybe that's not too much to ask. I don't know.
Yeah, so my calendar says that it's too bad that stupidity isn't painful. It really can save a lot of time and even lives if that would be painful.
Yeah. So I don't know. Speaking of from the developer perspective, let me start here. My hope that we will see some WWDC event, like not just online, and I'm not sure it will happen because there are a lot of new spikes in COVID here, and we have like something happening with the new viruses around. Not sure. Maybe they will do something, but it seems that they could manage to have some events there. Because you still need something like that in order to get your like developer vibe. You need to like have some event.
It would be wonderful to have something in Europe, please.
Yeah, and by the way, Apple had the Tech Talks in Berlin, and they have in London, and they have a couple of those events previously. So they might have something like this year again, like smaller events, maybe like one day event with the less fancy sessions rather than like WWDC. But it's still like after WWDC you can do some events in Europe as well. I think they can do that, like at least in some countries there. And from the developer perspective, yeah, we kind of know what will happen with Swift. Like there will be macros, maybe something will be announced on WWDC, maybe not. It depends. But it seems that they're working hard on that. And probably they will not announce any new UI frameworks, at least for now.
Try 5? Why not?
Yeah, they will iterate at least. Yeah, and probably they will not deprecate the UI kit yet. Again, hopefully they will able to write new settings up for the macOS. Like, again, you can try Swift UI again, but like try it better, please. Yeah, I promise we will try that. We will report that, but please do something with this.
I hope Apple that you suffered from Swift UI for Mac the same as I did. So just make it better next time, please.
Yeah. And speaking of the devices, again, I mean, we still didn't get the Mac Pro, actual Mac Pro. We get Mac Studio, which is kind of Mac Pro. But they promised to finish the transition in 2 years. 2 years they failed, obviously, because the Mac Pro is still Intel based.
They still have 2 days.
True, but I still think that won't happen. So I think one of the key things might be some M2 ultra extreme, whatever they call that, but it will, and according to rumors, they do not have that processor in the pipeline because of the production issues. But something should be there in order to like make the Mac Studio look like just the regular desktop device. There should be something which will like, and now here is how we do supercomputers under your table, like something like that. So it's I don't know how much will it cost. Probably it will cost a lot, but let's see this full transition happening. And again, they should create some new display, like I don't know, the same one as we will pay $1,000 for the stand, something like that. They need to iterate on that as well.
With the studio display.
By the way, studio display is kind of nice. I saw that in person. This is it's a really nice display, but we probably want a LED now. I think that's the time with the proper color calibrated panels with OLED, and then you probably will be able to like enjoy your photos, video editing, whatever. And at least I hope they will move to. I know that's expensive, but Apple doesn't have a problem with expensive things. So, and by the way, if you do proper OLED display, even if it's expensive, they will still have a lot of buyers from the industry. I think the only problem here is that it should have proper colors, and that's maybe a little bit harder to achieve on the OLED panels right now. So probably that's the only reason stopping them from having the full OLED, like big OLED display with just perfect colors and amazing contrast and everything. So I will not buy that display. I have to say, because I kind of predict the price, which will be totally out of my budget, but I really want that display to be there, so it will set the standard for others, and there will be the industry going to that direction, and we will have better displays and like retina quality OLED display, like I don't know, 32 inches, something like that, which is
by the way, find something like studio display, not Apple. It's also not very easy task.
Yeah, that is true. That I would agree. So the studio displays, they did it properly. It's just like we want more.
Yeah, as usual.
So
yeah,
should we call it?
Case,
yeah.
No. In my case, I would like to have new iPad. I will not buy it, but I want to at least have this possibility to buy it, because these iPad Pro, please, Apple. So now we have these iPad Pros with M chips. That would be nice to have finally webcam not on like imported mode, please. You did this for like usual iPad. Thanks.
Yeah, most controversial iPad actually. I mean, the whole thing about the pencil, like it just.
So as I think it's because of
the camera.
They have to do something with this pen. Yeah, and just I want to see more. So because this I love this device. And probably we are ready to something new. So yeah, that's the only thing that I wait for.
Yeah, the new. Well, I had this new iPad, which is like regular iPad, and it is good. But the problem with the pencil is like basically I was almost about to buy it. I mean, I'm still considering to buy one iPad for the kid to be able to draw there and play some games, but. This old, if you have to use the old pencil, you will probably use the old iPad with the Touch ID and everything, and with the button, because it's more like it's more expectable to do. But this whole thing with the new pencil and order to pair it with the iPad, and that's just bad. Let's put it that way. And I hope they will fix something in the next year. But the idea of putting camera into the place where it should be, especially when you use your iPad with this beautiful keyboard stand / something, it's expected to be there. And yet, by the way, pencil is expected to be on top of that as well. So just try to do that something. Like you probably can mix these things together. Like you're Apple, you have brilliant engineers, hardware designers, whatever. So yeah, maybe I would agree. And let's hope for the new iPad, which will solve all these issues into one device.
Yeah, I think it's our longest episode when we don't have guests.
True. And by the way, yeah, since it's the last episode of the season, we will get back hopefully in January, maybe end of January, with the totally new season. I can't say we will have totally new format or whatever, but it's an opportunity for us. Yeah. At least it's an opportunity to start new season with something new. So if you have any ideas what should we do next season, just throw that in. We will take a look and we will try to adjust and may do something else. But as of now, I think it's just Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Let it be much better. Let the new year be better. Just do whatever you want.
Our director said, let's the next year be the most boring year, please.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I'm totally okay with the boring year. That's something we can now have. I mean, it shouldn't be every year something fancy and interesting. No, we can live with non-interesting year, something boring, usual, and so on. But apart from that, let it be better, for everybody. And for those who are watching us live, thank you very much for coming. For those who are listening, thank you for listening. And if you are listening to this particular moment, then you are a truly dedicated fan of the podcast. Just make us a review, please. That will help. I mean, you're already here. You are listening to this particular moment, the end of the episode. That's definitely a moment when you can just say, okay, I'll add some review to these guys. They deserve that.
Do we have a link under our video?
We will add a link. We definitely have a link to Apple Podcasts, and just write a review in Apple Podcasts. That helps the podcast. Actually, that's probably the only thing which we can ask you for, because we don't ask for money, we don't ask for anything else. But these particular reviews they help a lot. Yeah. So please do that.
Please do this, because ChatGPT knows nothing about us. So
we need something. We need so the models. And by the way, it doesn't know the newer. It doesn't use the new information. So it's hopefully they will update the ChatGPT model with that. Yeah. So please write a review. Have a great new year, and see you soon with the totally new season of the Apple Trees. We are not going anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So see you next year. Bye.
See you. Bye.